You want me to like?
Yeah.
All right, hey everyone. Welcome to the Purdue Overwatch stream. Today we're going to be watching Purdue Silver versus, I believe. Oh, what's their name? Is it the George Washington Hog Riders? Is
Yeah,
that
George
correct?
Washington Hog Riders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite the name. Yeah, first match here of the new season, season 19. Definitely a lot of meta shifts, a lot of new things to be looking out for. So I'm excited.
I think I think I remember playing against the George Washington Hog Riders. Um, I don't remember what happened, but I know we won. Gold team number one, but I mean black team number one, but yeah, this new meta. I don't know if I don't know if the meta has changed at all, uh, this season after the updates, but because I've been seeing the same kind of comps running some scrims, some of the some games, and I'm not really sure if the meta has changed too much, but I never know. Maybe
Yeah,
there is
we'll
some
definitely
difference.
have to see.
Yeah.
Maybe those same characters are good, but maybe they're not as strong. Maybe that opens you up to run some other characters that you kind of couldn't before. Because with Zarya and Reaper both being worse, those two were definitely a really deadly duo.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I
also
think
hits on
Zarya.
Wuyong is definitely big.
Oh, true. I don't. I think there was a slight Reaper nerf in some of his perk changes, but I don't think that's going to change too much for him as a hero. And I think Zarya didn't get much change either, so I think the Zarya Reaper is probably still going to be the big meta comp, like frontline. So, and I think Genji, Tracer, all pretty much the same. Wu Yang did get a little bit of nerf, but I'm gonna assume he probably still will have some big plays being played
Oh,
on.
for sure. Yeah. The thing with Wuyong is they didn't go and they didn't just make his numbers worse. They made it so it's his directs are the same, but his indirects are worse. So it's a little
Hmm.
less of the consistency now. Now it's a little bit more on the user to be hitting those directs, which against those hyper mobile Genji Tracer characters, that definitely comes up where it's
Yeah.
just you're not realistically you're not gonna hit that many directs on a Tracer. So tiny blinking
Hmm.
around the map.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what Purdue Silver, because we watched. Did we watch them last week? Was it last week?
Yeah, we were watching Purdue Silver, same team. So
So
yeah, last week was a loss unfortunately. So hopefully we
that
can
was
see a little
unfortunate. Yeah.
turnaround from that.
Maybe we'd see it different with the win this time, but I think currently they're still getting everyone in the lobby, so we're gonna wait for that. I'm gonna probably assume they're still gonna run the same comp with the Diva probably or the Doomfist. I'm gonna assume they're gonna run the same things as last week. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's a new season, you haven't really had time to scrim the changes. Even if there was a big meta shift, which we're not really expecting that. Even if there
Hmm.
were, it's been a week since the season's dropped. So realistically, we're gonna see a lot of the same. Saw a lot of the Zarya Reaper. Definitely gonna see some of that. We saw the Doomfist on King's Row, definitely making plays. So we'll just have to
Hmm.
see what Purdue Silver is comfortable with here and what they are relying on now that
Yeah.
things are a little different. It looks like both teams are fully in there, so now we go to the bans phase,
Yep.
I think.
We're just gonna wait for the map and bans. Seems like
Yep.
Purdue Silver is choosing to ban Tracer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely something I remember last week we were struggling with a little bit.
Yeah,
That
they
we
had that
it's
one
a very,
really
very strong
crazy Tracer
Tracer.
player. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
so
were some
definitely,
drama with that team. I'm not gonna. I think
was there,
after I
was
think
there?
one, they never checked in. That team never checked in. Two, some of the players on the team were not on the roster, so I
Well,
was
that's
that was a little bit
hopefully we do not have a
suspicious.
fiasco like that this week.
Yeah,
Hopefully that is not the case this week. But
yeah, and
yeah,
also some
banning
of them
that
didn't have
Tracer,
a
Tracer's
ranks. So sorry, go
Tracer
ahead.
largely unchanged this season.
Hmm.
Tracer is always going to be one of those characters that she's at least decent.
Yeah.
Just such a strong kit with all that mobility, and her perks are so good. Even though the recall giving you your blinks back was nerfed, it's still a good perk, and her other major perk is far from bad. So it'll be if you haven't worked on it that much, Purdue Silver is still going to look to ban the Tracer where they can.
Hmm. I think there was a bug with that Tracer with her new major perk where her what was it?
It was
Her
it would
recall,
increase the
yeah, increased the cooldown reduction on her recall as well, not just her blink, and just making her
10
recalls.
second recall.
Yeah, that's it's already strong enough. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
So she was banned for a bit from NECC, but I think they have recently
Yeah, the
unbanned
bug
it.
got
But
fixed, like,
this,
I think
yeah,
literally yesterday.
yeah. This is ECAC, so I haven't seen any updates bans on Tracer on ECAC, so I think Tracer is still playable because I think they have hot patched it.
Yeah. Still waiting on the other team's ban, I believe.
Yes, I believe we are. And it seems like they banned Wu Yang on their team.
Wu Yang. I mean, yeah, like we said,
Yeah,
like
these are
such
two
strong characters.
Yeah, two really strong characters to be banned, which is fair for both. I totally
Yeah, so
understand
just first game, you know, you don't want to look at the meta options. You want to look at what you're comfortable on. You know, you want to play with your strength and not just what the best things of the game are. I like that. Just open up with what you want to play.
that.
And I haven't caught the map yet here. I don't think a map has been selected yet, even though there's ours in the chat.
I think it's gonna be Busan. It looks like, yeah, I think they chose Busan and they, yeah.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Busan definitely an interesting map.
Yeah.
Busan very open at times, but there's definitely some scraps that go down, so it'll be yeah, interesting to see how they play this.
I think
definitely
it's gonna be a good, I think maybe a good brawlier map. I'd assume.
Yeah. I definitely think this could be a diva angle. I know. Silver's very good on the diva, so if we end up running diva, that could definitely be an option. I mean, there's a lot on the table here. We really don't know until we see the characters they select.
Oh, my bad. My apologies. I did not mean to do that.
You good?
Yeah, I am good now. All right, sweet. All right. Yeah, I think the diva will be good. It looks like they're running the Zarya.
Looks like both sides are opting on to the Zarya. Zarya, yeah, like you said, pretty much unchanged. Reaper, you know, he got his perks changed, but you don't need your perks to be a character. You still got the same gun, you still got the same ult. Reaper Zarya, the synergy is still there, still like one of the best tank DPS combinations in the game. So I assume that's what the George Washington Hog Riders will be running as well, is that same Zarya Reaper. It'll be interesting to see, because this map, you know, you're not immediately thrown into the brawl. You know, you don't play on this point a lot. You end up spending a lot of the time on the high ground, a lot of time contesting the high ground before you drop and claim that point. So it'll be interesting to see how they, you know, close that gap. Obviously, the Lucio speed boost is going to be a really good resource for that, but there's also a lot on the team to figure out how they make those rotations.
Yeah, I think whichever team does have the better rotations end up winning this map, especially like playing off those cooldowns. I think and then whoever, like, if the Reaper goes in too much and then ends up dying in the backline, is another big like downside to this. So it's just whichever Reaper does end up like playing the safest, I guess, but also playing their life, but are able to stay in the fight without getting overextended and dying too much.
Yeah. Okay, we're unpaused here. Finally get into the round. We see yeah, Sim just for the TP, switch back to the Reaper.
Well, we do see a Sim on the Hog Rider side, yeah.
And we're immediately right to the fight. Like I said, it can be very scrappy. And immediately the Symmetra is down. And we see 1 HP for the Sojourn, and they're just falling apart as Kiriko drops. Now we're holding on to our bubbles. We got no more bubbles here, so that's going to be a dead Zarya. And Kiriko does fall, but that's not going to be enough because your Lucio is now dead. And that's a very fast first fight for Purdue Silver.
Hatu almost got picked out there, being far behind her team, but luckily the online came in time, saving her, allowing her to have a TP for that invulnerable state for a second.
And we're immediately back into another fight. Both teams playing very fast. I love that. And we see Symmetra about to fall again to the Reaper, but she's barely able to save there. Oh, but finding the pick on Sojourn is Avpal. Through all the chaos, you have to dedicate some resources to Symmetra, but Xen's is being blocked back by that Symmetra laser. That's the tank gone for Purdue Silver. That's not what you want to see. Hatsu staying alive here, trying to keep up your Reaper. Reaper still functioning like a tank. You're still in this fight if you're Purdue Silver. The numbers are even, but the point does flip for George Washington, and we see online falling, and that's... Oh, but Avpal finding Lucio and Symmetra keeping Purdue in the fight, and just sit on the point here. They have to contest the point, or they're just going to give it to Purdue Silver. Kiriko on the side of George Washington, trying to sit on this point, using the Suzu, just keep yourself alive, but now we're pushing back George Washington. They're not going to be able to contest anymore, and that was so clean. After just keeping them in that fight with those amazing picks. We're back at it here, fighting on the high ground. We see Symmetra drop. I don't know if that was on purpose. Oh, but Hanju dies in the chaos. Now he's Calamy being walked up again, reload, not being able to pick up the kill on that Lucio. Now we're getting covered. Now we're getting bubbles, and the Lucio's going to get out of this alive. Online on low health, only the but Lucio does fall to Sojourn. And now let's see what we can find here.
Purdue's still holding the point, so they can definitely like drag this like fight out a little bit because they still have hurt points. They do decide to flip because they know they can get back into this fight pretty fast after this. They are in a little bit of like a tight situation here where not really good for them Purdue to try to go in. We might see a Reaper Blossom here from online here. It does look like he's looking for it. Questionable TP, but he does get him living. Solo does get solo grabbed out here, so
yeah, solo grabbing the Reaper. That you're not living through that. Doesn't matter how many souls you get. Ooh, but grab on Zarya. Oh, but the sim wall keeping the team alive. That was a fat grab, but not gonna be enough when you use both the beat and that sim wall. But now on the side of Purdue Silver, we have the old advantage. We have our own beat. We did drop the Kitsune Rush, but now we also have the Bullet Shot and the Death Blossom to only an overclock on the side of George Washington Hawk Riders.
Yeah, that grab was a good grab. However, that sim wall really saved that, and the beat really saved the Zarya from dying there. And luckily, Purdue did only have to invest 2 ults compared to Hog Riders 4. Ooh.
But online falling already, so much poke damage from the Symmetra to Zarya. We're going to dedicate some resources here. This fight is still winnable with speed drop, but not finding any kills. Speed dropping, Calamine just dying, getting lost in the sauce there. Too much thing on Symmetra, and it looks like Sojourn's about to fall to those Freya. Take aim bolts, but great healing. Cadenza taking out Sojourn, but it's not going to be enough. Cadenza falls. Online finding a kill on Telamani.
2 DPS are still alive right now.
Look at Zarya. This is
and the DPS just ends up killing. Yeah. Aspel just never died there and it was able to stay alive long enough for Online to get back and basically just do what Reaper does to a tank and just burst their health down.
Now, gonna recollect on point here.
Yeah, if you're Purdue, you're looking to see this Reaper roll and try to end this fight really fast. If I was Purdue, I would definitely try to end this fight. Yeah, but you can't be really predictable. But it's very predictable as a Reaper. But yeah, ends up just using it to kill 2.
It doesn't matter. Dropping, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how predictable I am when I have a Zarya bubble back.
Yeah.
Now we're just gonna walk down the last 6, try not to die for the Reaper here, but it doesn't really matter when the Bullet Shot's taking out the Sojourn. Now you're just taunting this Kiriko into a corner, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Now it's down to whether George Washington can even get this touch.
Online and Aspel has really been holding on for holding the clutch factor for Purdue Silver right now.
Yeah, now are you gonna walk through this Reaper? He's holding the official control. I have to answer his riddles to get to the point, but he does fall to the grab plus Kitsune Rush. And now they're down a player, but Lavani falls on the side of George Washington. Down to Kiriko, the rush still on the point, but it's gonna be enough when you're down a source of healing. Cadenza finds Badermi, and that's the rest of George Washington Hog Riders falling. Now it's just Symmetra versus 3, and you're not going to win that, no matter how good of a Symmetra you are. And that's going to be first point to Purdue Silver.
That grab was a really good grab to decide going for the Reaper, but the Reaper just was able to live with all the support from the Kiri and the Lucio. I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, just very fast play from both teams. We were almost immediately into fights with that Lucio speed boost, and those Reaper getting those Zarya bubbles, just so scrappy, just so many answers that Purdue is asking that need to be answered.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that I wonder if we didn't see the Freya last week, and I'm surprised to see the Freya this week. Maybe they scrimmed it and realized like, oh, Freya is a really good, they realized that Freya has been really strong.
I know there was a buff on one of Freya's minor perks that she gets more ammo. I don't.
Yeah, it went from 4 extra ammo to I think 10, which is actually a really high amount.
Very large buff. So maybe that uptime, competing with Sojourn in that instant DPS category, definitely very difficult for a lot of characters. But hey, maybe it's first enough to do it. And we're getting to a fight here. Already the enemy Freya switch finding a kill onto Hatsu. And the enemy Kiri finding a kill on Freya, but Online does find the kill on Flamio. but Cadenza's gonna fall to the Freya, and I believe that's fight 1.
Yeah, looking at this comp from the Hog Riders, they are running a Soj Freya, so they're running a really heavy poke comp, but with a Winston. So I think they're looking to try to get someone low with either a rail shot or a Freya right click, and having that Winston try to dive that target and try to burst them down mid, like when they're low. But that does mean that Winston has to dive alone, which is kind of might not be the best choice in my opinion. But Hog Riders might have something.
Getting the map here because of the early pick onto Freya. Freya just falling before the fight even starts. Doesn't know what you want, but I think that happens with the Reaper. Just represents so much damage. Switch on the D.Va is so big here. You're on that double hit scan. And all your hit gun shots are being absorbed by a defense matrix. Now what are you even doing? And a great TP right in the face of Freya as the Winston falls. And now you're just going to chase back these last 2 staggers, see if you can get the kill. Not going to commit.
Yeah, this is the problem I think with Hog Riders comp, is that especially with Busan at your side of the map, everything is really tight and close, and especially with the Reaper and D.Va, you're not really seeing, it's really hard to find a kill with how survivable both heroes are. Oh, I take that back.
Already falling so much damage there, but I mean, still fightable if you can find the pick, if you can find the trades to get back in. As Azpog's barely staying alive with the skin of his teeth, his healer's putting in overtime. Straight to the emergency room, keeping up, finding a stick onto the Lucio, but you're gonna find Hot dying.
Good shot by Azpog.
Yeah, no, unfortunately that Freya is just tearing through Purdue Silver despite the healing and despite the regroup. Just losing your Reaper early is not what you want, because that's what's stopping them from walking.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I was gonna say that, like, Purdue's comp is very survivable, so it would be very hard for Hog Riders, like, Soj and Freya to get a really good shot, but it seems like if you overextend a little bit too much, you will get both right click shots into your head.
Lots of ults online, but Azpog already falling to the headshot tonight. So he's gonna back up.
Yeah.
We are Purdue Silver, but the monkey is not letting you get away, chasing down that Lucio to the end of the earth, fighting the kill onto Lucio, and that's gonna enable Freya to swing in here and try to kill on Reaper without your Reaper, without your shield boost. Oh, that's a stagger just outside the spawn doors on Cadenza.
Yeah, he will have to switch to get his mech back and lose the ult charge on his self-destruct.
Yeah, really good find. You know, might look like an overextension from the outside from that Winston trying to kill that Lucio, but when you get the kill, is anything an overextension? That just makes the rest of Producer fall. But Tonight Rush pushing back. So far, great beat from the enemy Lucio, keeping everyone up with the counter beat. And now, what are your options? You have nothing to keep yourself alive as we have our entire team boosted. Death Blossom. Both DPS down on the side of George Washington Hog Riders, so now it's just a matter of killing these last 2 supports and Winston, but Winston does have Primal, so if we want to extend our point, yeah, we're gonna just pop that there, keep us up, keep our test going, but oh, stepping up the point for a second, trying to find that kill, and I mean, your Lucio's dead, now you're just gonna have to back, and you gave up point. That's really good for Purdue Silver, getting a little bit of progress here.
Yeah, Purdue, Calamity using a great beat to have a second beat, knowing that his team's able to live that first initial beat, and he's just gonna wait to be second to get a faster beat, like a better beat afterwards.
Bullet shot onto the enemy Freya. Both Freyas going for the bullet shot, but Cadenza just blocking it. So that Azpog comes up on top of the stick, but D-Mag is Cadenza, and Hatsu falls to the overclock. Online fighting a kill on the Kiwi produces a winnable fight. It's a very scrappy fight. Now you have, what are even the numbers? 3v2, but Winston falling, and it looks like Purdue Silver is favored to win this fight now. You just have to kill the remaining Freya. And
Aspal has been stepping it, like has been being the fight difference in these fights. Like just always finding the pick or finding a really valuable pick and staying alive in the fight to constantly output damage.
I mean, yeah, you were talking about, like you were saying, I wonder why they switched up the Sojourn for the Freya. And Asbal comes out and says, this is why we switched up the Sojourn for the Freya.
I get it was a really good choice.
Every fight. Asbal definitely putting that passive on display. Every time I get a 3K, I get ult charge. Wonder how many times he procced it in that one game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Hog Riders decide to ban the Freya for this next map, or on whatever map they decide to choose, because man, Aspal was putting in work on that.
I mean, when you put Aspal on a map where there's so many safe places to position, you know, there's so much high ground that's so difficult to contest, And, you know, both sides do have that Freya. Both sides do have that same firepower. But on the side of Purdue Silver, we have the D.Va just straight up denying all your take aims, all your bullet shots. You know, you're not going to take that duel because there's a big barrier in front of the two of you. Whereas the Hog Riders are opting into the Winston, where yes, you can jump on that Freya, and yes, it can be difficult for Freya to escape. But when Freya is just sitting pretty on top of a skyscraper, like Winston's not going to do anything about that. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously hats off to Azpal playing very, very, very clean Freya, but I think we definitely have to acknowledge Cadenza's really, really enabling that play.
Well, sure, yeah. Creating all the space, making sure to eat any important right-click bolts, any Soj rails, all that. Like, it's very valuable.
Waiting on the bans here. Definitely really good to win that first map if you're Purdue Silver, though. Now you kind of have a lot of room to work with. Now you know you have a comp that will work if you can play it.
Yeah, I think Purdue Silver, especially based off last week, they do like playing these open maps where they're able to play the D.Va, the Zarya comps. I think that's their comfort pick, and if they are able to do that, I think they are able to play the Reaper constantly, which is really just obviously a real powerful meta this season.
Suravasa looks like the map we're going to here, so very brawl heavy map. Definitely a lot of different things that can come out here. Definitely could still see the Zarya Reaper very, very powerful here on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Yeah.
But I could definitely see the Hog Riders banning out the Reaper or the Zarya just to deny it, because, you know, on all these close fights you're gonna have to take on Suravasa when you were, you know, already losing that 1v1, that Reaper Zarya 1v1. I could definitely see them, you know, opting to say, oh, okay, it looks like the enemy team bans Freya. You called it there, Blaze.
Yeah.
And Purdue banning Lucio.
Yeah, Freya is a valuable pick on Suravasa, which I wouldn't. So I'm not surprised for them to have chosen this, but I am wondering why they decided to ban the Lucio for Purdue side. Maybe they didn't want the. Yeah, I mean, Purdue banning Lucio. I was surprised that because they could play the Lucio for sure. Calamity can definitely play the Lucio. Maybe they want to play the Wu Ying instead though.
Yeah, one thing that can, you know, really matter in these brawl mirrors, one thing that can really matter when you're kind of forced into brawl v brawl is who gets the fight faster, who executes their brawl faster. So when Lucio's in the game, you know, I think Purdue Silver probably wants to run the Wuyong here. If you're running Wuyong and the enemy team is running Lucio and you're in this like forced brawl situation, a lot of the time the Hog Riders are going to be able to take brawls that are advantageous for them because they have that amp speed to get them to point faster. They have that amp speed to rotate faster. So Purdue just opting into playing the Wuyong, kind of that comfort pick, and denying a better, you know, leg up for the Hog Riders.
I think we're just waiting for them to ready up and we'll start going in.
Looks like it. All right, game entry. Yeah, they did make the swap from shoot, I forgot the last person's name. I apologize, but over to I also don't know how do you think you pronounce that? Is it like ante? Like you up the ante?
I think it's just ant, but it could be anti.
Oh, it's like a fancy ant. It's like
yeah, it's just a fancy way of saying ant. Maybe. Yeah. That's what I think it might be, but
yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, we really no idea. Anyways, so curious to see what we're running here. Probably gonna be that same Zarya Reaper.
Did we see? Is Wooly a swap pick in this map?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Maybe. It looks like we're seeing Juno Brig on the side of Hog Riders. I don't think I've seen Juno Brig played in any sort of competitive match in like, God, I don't know how long ago that was meta. It's been over a year at this point.
I mean,
and then Purdue Silver is currently hovering Kiriko Moira, a Genji, Orisa. Okay, switching over now to the Wuyong, the monkey. But
I'll be surprised to see the Moira from Calamity, but yeah. No, we see a Ram Venture and Tracer, and then Juno Brig. It's a very brawl-heavy team, but they are the Brig and Juno are, at least the Juno is a very easily killable target.
Yeah, Juno's very squishy. So as we go into the fight here, we already see Cadenza stalking that Juno, already chipping her down. with the secondary
Yep.
fire, and now we're just gonna see everyone jump onto her. Now their health is low, and that's gonna be first pick on a support for Purdue Silver, and that's exactly what we're looking for. The health bars are dropping as Pouch does fall, but so does Ante, and now there's no healing on the side of the Hog Riders, and that's just gonna enable their tank to fall, their Tracer to fall, and just a Venture trying to get out as fast as they possibly can. And that's a very clean first fight for Purdue Silver, identifying their winning condition.
Yeah, I think Purdue Silver definitely did play that a little roughly by like not being able to not diving on the same target, especially with the fact that they're playing a divier comp. But the Hog Riders did not play together as their as their comp should want to do, which is the brawly comp. So they were just able to get one by one picked off by the dive of Purdue Silver.
Oh, and we see a trade of both main supports, but Hansu also following the trade. If we can find that pick onto Juno, the fight is even, and there it is, Cadenza onto Kiwi. No supports for either side, Ascal's gonna fall. But this is still very, very fightable if you're Purdue. Have to hold on to this point. You know, point to we can play in our win trouble, we can play for Elfax. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Just, take a little bit more progress, leave it off at a clean 70, and back off.
I think if you're Purdue, you do like that fight because you still build alt charges and you're able to build these next two support ults while the Hog Riders don't really have their support ults. Yep, and they just fall because of the fact they don't have it.
Yeah, Andy just almost immediately, but Hansu also trading, Calamity also trading. Oh my goodness, what a kill. Just barely not finding that kill on Juno, but Juno is out of the fight trying to find a health back, but Genji is also dead as Tracer dedicating so many resources to try to kill out Juno and falling in the process. That was a very clean 2 picks onto both supports of Purdue Silver.
Yeah, I think that fight could have definitely turned around if Online didn't mess up his blinks onto that little ledge. Because if he was able to get to that ledge, he was definitely going to be able to kill the Juno, turn around, and help the rest of his team. But it took too long for him to find it.
Okay, we see Annihilation being dropped from the monster here, chasing down the team, chasing down Calamity, picking him off, and trying to see is there anyone else around for him to kill. But Ante also falling, no main support for either team. Yet again, just immediately those aggressive picks, and now we see Cadenza just chasing down that Juno, jumping on to the Venture. Hatsu falling as she drops the rush, but Kiwi also dead. No supports again for either team, so now it's down to just Mono E Mono who wins the fight. Ramatra falling, Venture 1 HP having to run away there. Now Tracer holding down the fort the best she can, but without a recall, without blinks, Cadenza's just gonna snipe her out. And this is dangerous territory for Hog Riders. You get one more fight on this point, or it goes Purdue Silver.
Yeah, it'll be a very sloppy touch. It does seem the Purdue Silver is decided to play really early and just prevent them from touching. Yeah, it looks like they're just gonna take their fight as fast as possible and not let them touch here.
Yeah, I mean they just caught Kiwi with her pants down there, just standing around waiting for a team to get back, and all of a sudden there's a 2-ton gorilla jumping from halfway across the map onto you. Like, how can you be prepared for that? How can you be prepared for Cadenza?
Hey, Winston will say he is only 1 ton and not 2 ton. So let's be a little bit mindful on that part.
He is only 1 ton. That is.
He has been only eating peanut butter, so it's he has been losing a little bit of weight, I think.
Well, 1 ton or 2 ton, it does not matter. Juno's still gonna fall. We're immediately into a fight with the orbital ray being dropped and online, and Hatsu falling because of the damage amplification. Now it's a question if Cadenza can get out as Calamity also falls and stagger onto Cadenza. Now can we chase down this Genji? No, we cannot. Very, very clean fight. Very good usage of that orbital ray.
Yeah, that was a really good fight for the Hog Riders. Only having to invest 1, while Purdue did not decide to invest any ults because they knew they was probably losable, and they wanted to just build up this Wu Yang and Tracer pulse to maybe just win the next couple fights with a better ult economy here.
Yeah, definitely. You're coming up on the title, or the Title Blast, is that what it's called? The Wu Yang ult here for Purdue Silver. You got the Pulse Bomb, you got the Primal, which is going to be popped here to keep Zenza up, like against the rally, but as it's about drying, and now both of your supports are about to fall. Can you find a kill with the Primal? I do not believe so, as both supports are just going to be nowhere to be found. And now it's just Cadenza and Calamity versus the world. I do not think they're taking that.
Yeah, like, the Hog Riders definitely had 3 ults going in this fight, only having to invest 2, which is good on their part. So they're able to just still match this Purdue Silver's ult because the Ram ult is coming up and they still have the Pulse from both sides. Pulse one coming out from Oliver Chris does end up not finding a kill. Yeah, it looks like Online does try to go for touch. I don't think he did get the touch. Yeah, he did not. He was unable to get the touch.
both dying and not quite getting that touch is really unfortunate. Not what you want, but it's okay. You know, we have 1 point. We can take that. We're still building our ults. We're almost to Kitsune Rush, and we still have that Tidal Blast on deck and the Pulse Bomb. So we have 3 ults going into this fight, and all Hog Riders have to combat it is a single annihilation. But Calamite falling before the fight even starts. We need to find something soon, or we are already giving up the point. And it looks like Purdue is just going to opt to give up the point. You know, down our main support, we're not going to fight this. We're going to regroup. We're going to take it when we're all here. Oh my god!
You're the other pick.
I know, Tracer was just like walking around looking for a safe refuge, and then once again running into the one-shot gorilla who's going to blast you in the face with the taser. Pulse bomb onto Ramatra is going to be enough to take him down even after the block. Juno falling here from Online 247. 247 does die to the Venture, but it's too little too late, as we can revenge kill and take our point. Both support ults intact, only taking 1 pulse bomb to that point, but now Orbital Ray is back online for Hog Riders, and last time we saw such a clean performance with it.
Yeah. In terms of this, like, Hog Rider definitely has an up on the all the ults they have, but if Calamite does have the Tidal Blast, so he is able to try to Purdue Silver can try to see if they can knock down the support backline.
Yeah, okay, already dropping that Orbital Ray far in the bag, but it's gonna be enough to find the kill on the Calamite. And as Foul, but Denton does find Tracer, if we can get the kill on the Brick here, but no, using the rally just to stay alive. But forcing the rally is maybe what you want if you're Purdue here.
Yeah.
Versus the world, not really gonna find anything, not gonna dedicate any resources, just dying. But both support ults fall from Hog Riders, leaving a Kitsune Rush on the board.
The Hog Riders do still have the Ram Annihilation, so they definitely can hold off on this, like, survive through this Kitsune Rush. If he does it properly, blocks it, and is just able to dive, protects his backline from the dive. But we do see a dive here early.
Find a pulse bomb, you know, because I curious to do all that. And you do see Venture's ult, you know, building. So this is going to be quite the ultimate fight if it comes down to it. Pulse bomb, not finding anyone on the blue silver. And the Primal is dropped, juggling around Brigitte. We find the kill. No, Juno giving her that first aid care. And now Oliver Triss does fall the Tracer, but Calamite falling. No main support for Purdue Silver. Sticking the Ramatra, and that's going to be enough for him to die. Now it's a 3v3 situation where Anti also dies, and now I do not think that Juno and the Venture are going to be able to take it against the Tracer and the Winston, but let's see. Online's health bar is dropping, and now it's just Winston.
Oh, that was very badly played by Purdue Silver there. If Online had just focused on whatever Cadenza was looking at, or they had comped to each other who they were looking at, I think Online would not have fallen there and would probably be able to kill the Juno, but because Online was alone on point and Cadenza had backed away trying to find another target, they were not able to, and they just got picked off one by one.
Big touch from Online now on the Venture. See if you can find that pick onto Brigitte. Very low on the health bar. Dragon Blade striking her down. Now finding another kill on the enemy Venture. Idle Blast coming out. Can we find anything with it? No. Hot 2 falls. Online falls. Now it's a tense scenario. Can this 3v4 be won? I don't know. Health bar dropping across the board. Oliver Triss being dashed into and taken out. Now
this Juno's still alive. Cadenza does not seem to be able to kill this Juno. She's just living here. She's not dying. Oh no.
Those health packs from Brigitte really putting in numbers, and that Juno just gonna be such a threatening force when she can't die. Her gun being so powerful. Yeah. Now it's a matter of whether Online can stall long enough for this fight. And now Hotsu teleporting back. You have a chance if you are Purdue Silver. Cadenza's gonna have to put in some miracle work here though, and that's gonna be it. She's not gonna be able to regroup for that last touch. And now, game point for the Hog Riders.
That was a really big misplay from Purdue Silver. Cadenza's over here solo try to find the Juno, but Juno's just double jumping off the high ground, so Cadenza was never able to get a good primary shot, and he was just missing his right clicks or not doing enough damage to kill the Juno while she's flying, and
for sure, yeah,
allowing Asphalt to just have to 1v1 a Ram.
Yeah, the combination of Juno and Brigitte, you know, definitely kind of a foregone support backline as far as the meta goes, but they're showing off why it was ran. You know, they're showing off when you can't kill Juno, she's such a powerful character. Calamite already falling to Tracer, Online falling as the rally pops. kill is found onto Kiwi, so if Purdue can find another kill onto Anti, that's exactly what they need. That Primal being used, Hansu dying. Now we just see sitting on the point here. Can we cap before the fight ends? I don't think so. If we kill this Venture, Kadenza really needs this kill to keep Purdue in the fight, but no, just barely not dying right before you get the kill, and now Online is not going to be able to take on the rest of the Hog Riders. Just so many of these fights have been so scrappy, so many trades back and forth, and Purdue Silver barely not being able to win them.
We do see the Winston switch to a Junker Queen from Cadenza, which was what I really like, because I don't think that Winston was going to be working into this comp.
I mean, for sure, Junker Queen is a very powerful character on these, brawl heavy maps. Like if I'm Junker Queen, I want to be in a brawl all the time, and if you're on this map, you want to be in a brawl all the time. However, he's immediately falling, kind of because of that ventral ult there. Wooly getting a little ambitious though, trying to go to the spawn for some kills, but Online alone on the point is gonna fall. So now Purdue just needs to regroup.
Yeah, if you're Hog Rider, you really like where your position is because you still have 2 ults here, while Purdue also has 2 ults, but they are do have that.
It's gonna be a question of how fast you can build that Tidal Blast from Young. That could really, turn this fight here. That one extra ultimate. Ramontra chasing down the board, but not getting able to find either kill. And now the Dragon Blade is pumped, but immediately shut down. Brigitte is dead, but and the point does flip. So if we can stall for a little longer, Purdue is still in this with Hatsu and Online falling on the point. But Hatsu's gonna fall, and Online shortly after. And unless we get a miracle Doomfist touch from Cadenza here, that is the map for the Hog Riders.
Yeah, Hog Rider has had almost a basic, I think at that, from the second point on, I think they had an almost perfect ult economy. Every single fight from the second point on, they had a perfect ult. They always had ults in every single fight, and I think Purdue just wasn't able to respond back because they had that Winston, and with a Juno Brig backline, I think it's really hard, especially after they get their perks, it's really hard for Winston to try to get those kills onto those backlines.
Sure. I think that coordinated dive, obviously something that's very powerful in Overwatch, especially right now. But I think some of the time, a little bit of that coordination was lost. A little bit of that togetherness was lost. And while Juno is a very squishy target, not having any sort of CC, any sort of self-sustain, when she's just getting cared for by Brigitte, Winston's damage isn't enough. You need that Tracer to help you. You need that Genji to help you. But ultimately, there were so many staggered picks and so many side quests being taken by Purdue Silver that they weren't able to find those early kills that dive relies on so heavily. So now, tied up in the series though, not the worst thing. You already won that first game, so you're not upset to take it. Take a game loss there, and if you're Purdue Silver, you got to keep in mind that first point went very well for you. So now it's a question of whether you can keep that sort of play and whether you can carry that momentum.
Yeah, I don't think there was I don't think necessarily Purdue had a really bad fight. I think they weren't able to clean up because they ended up switching targets and not being able to target Prio after. As a fight dragged on, they lost target of who they're trying to kill a lot of the times. And if they're able to fix that and clean that up, I think Purdue Silver is still the better team. Still has an advantage here in terms of the fights, how the fights have gone.
Yeah. I definitely think those dry fights are where Purdue Silver were, thriving, where no ults were popped, no ults were online, even. Just being able to, very quickly assemble and very quickly choose a target and assassinate them, so to speak. I just think when it came down to the ultimates, that rally and that orbital ray, arguably 2 of the stronger support ults in the game. And Tidal Blast and Kitsune Rush, not to discredit those 2, also very, very powerful ultimates. But just the way that they, just the way they ended up being useful in the matchup and the way they ended up, falling onto the board, the support ults for the Hog Riders became just so much more valuable.
I think the orbital ray with the rally are just really 2 really good brawling support ults that are able to keep the fight going and just have the Ram and Adventure allow to just stay in the fight and just not have to worry about their backline falling as easily because of the 2 support really big healing while also surviving ults.
Yeah, it's just a matter of that Brig ult and that Juno ult being very, very good at zone control and very good at space denial. And when you're a dive comp, you really rely on getting into the enemy space. You're not poking on Tracer. You're not poking really on Winston. So when you could just, pop that rally. Now my shield is massive. If I hit you with it, you're stunned in place. That orbital ray. My entire team's doing 40% more damage. You're not gonna be able to enter their space. So that's just how it kind of played out. And it looks like we're going to King's Row, and we're going to see a Winston ban from Purdue Silver. I'm curious to hear the reason behind that. I don't necessarily associate Winston as being like great on Kings Row. I don't think of him as being bad on Kings Row. I just think,
I think he's a very just like a alright pick on Kings Row.
yeah,
I'm not
I just don't think
too
of him as bad on Kings Row.
yeah, I don't
So
know. Maybe they have.
maybe we're running some very diveable comp. Maybe we're running some sort of like on a Juno, where it's very squishy backline. I don't know. I'm curious to see the reason behind the Winston ban here though. Just waiting on the ban from the Hog Riders here. Freya is now open again for Purdue Silver. That's something that's very important. And now that dive's not as strong here on Kings Row when there's so many less angles and so many less flanks that you can tank. I definitely expect that we might see the Freya back online and definitely see it tearing things up because Aspow on the Freya was a threat. But we could also see a return to the Sojourn. Sojourn, again, very powerful when there's so few angles to take, especially kind of just unbothered and uncontested, shooting out rails into the enemy team.
I agree. Sorry, there's something I currently have to do that I realized I messed up. It's not too big, not too big of a deal. It's nothing like it's nothing happened during the stream. It's just that I realized that I never had a Winston ban icon for my stream. Yeah, because no one ever bans Winston, so I never caught that.
Right.
But
just tell producer we're not banning Winston. Sorry, overlay's not accounting for it.
oh my god, yeah, I just got.
Just put like wrecking.
No, I fixed it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay. All right. So still waiting on that ban from the Hog Riders though. Yeah, curious to see what they're gonna go for. Can no longer ban the Weon, can no longer ban the Freya, and those definitely seem to be two of the stronger players from Purdue Silver. Maybe we're looking to ban the Doomfist. Maybe we're looking to ban. I don't know. It really is a.
Yeah, I am wondering why we decided to go for the Winston ban from Purdue side because they already played the Winston, but Hog Rider never did play the Winston.
Yeah, Cadenz's very strong performance on the Winston, so I just
maybe they know something we don't about the Hog Riders.
Maybe they wanted to ban Winston just so your overlay, like they just to reveal the vulnerability in your
vulnerability, but they understand they don't know how fast I am to switching it and fixing the problem.
Yeah, that's just the tech. I think they just they weren't ready for how adaptable you are. I think
exactly.
That's definitely one thing that Purdue Silver is not considering here is that our broadcaster is very powerful.
I am the all-seeing, all-knowing power.
Okay, they're switching in Flamio for Willie. I do believe that was a swap that was made from the first and second map, so just reverting that there. And I didn't catch the ban from.
They banned Reaper. They decided to ban the Reaper here.
Oh, Reaper. Gotcha. You know what? I totally get that. I think one of the most terrifying experiences in Overwatch is when I am on King's Row, just minding my own business, booking a stay at a hotel, and all of a sudden there's a 50-year-old man holding 2 shotguns standing in front of my face because he turned a corner that I did not see.
Yeah.
So
I have definitely done that to a handful of tracers where they blink around the corner. I just one-tap them in the head, and it's so satisfying because you're just like, oh wow. So every single pellet Reaper's gonna just hit and just absolutely blew up the tracer, and that tracer just couldn't do anything. But it is so sad just laying hellfire onto the back enemy.
I mean, so many dark alleys for Reaper to stalk around. I totally get that, and of course that Zarya Reaper once again always being a threat, always something you have to keep in mind. So forcing Purdue Silver off of it. It's gonna be interesting to see what they opt into playing here. lot of tank options on this map. This is a very King's Row is a very played map. You know, King's Row has been played so many times, so many comps have been played on it. It's really just open to whatever you've scrimmed on it. That's really what King's Row is because it's such a explored map.
Sorry, I am trying to see if there's something I can turn off without. It's okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. We are getting right into it.
Okay, so we do see the Doomfist and the Freya, just as predicted. We are on double flex support, though, on the side of Purdue Silver running the Ana Kiriko. Definitely something, you know, has been seen a lot on King's Row as double flex support. Not really needing that Lucio. Wuyong is definitely a strong contender on this map, but if you're better at the Ana Kiriko, like, it's so potent on this map. On the other side, we see a relatively similar comp, other than tank choice. Where we're going to see Ramattra versus Doomfist being, you know, obviously we have Sojourn versus Freya, similar enough characters. Wuyong versus Ana, you know, pretty big difference. But the biggest difference, I feel, is going to come down to the Doomfist versus the Ramattra.
Whoa.
Oh.
Now entering King initiating
match. King Crimson.
What happened? I don't know what happened.
Just got sent back in time, 30 seconds. There was an error in the timeline we needed to address. Okay, we're good, though.
All right, I think we're good, yeah.
What else did they have? Anyways, so,
but
yeah, I mean...
I saw the Doomfist, which is a nice pick, but with a comp that,
ready for battle.
I mean, I don't know. I definitely feel like, you know, Wuyong and Kiriko are survivable, sure, but once their cooldowns fall, you know, once you use that slide away on the Wuyong, once you use that TP away on the Kiriko, then it becomes, you know, really dire to hold onto those cooldowns. And if Doomfist finds one of the supports without a cooldown, that's just lights out for them. So it's gonna be sort of a patient game almost for Cadenza, not something you really attribute to Doomfist, but it's gonna be a game of, you know, it's keep in mind with that Freya and that Genji, you're also exerting so much pressure to use those cooldowns. You know, Freya sticks at Kiriko, she's kind of forced to Suzu herself, and now Doomfist is like licking his lips, rubbing his hands together, looking for that kill on Kiriko. But here we go.
Defend objective A.
Okay, so lovely view we have here. Just looking through the high
Sorry, I was trying to fix the issue that I had, but
all right, so already just into a pretty extreme scrap. Purdue playing this high ground, not opting to fight on the point, and already we see Wuyong and Hellsbar dropping low, but Cadenza, like I said, playing that patient game, taking out resources and falling back, and already if you have it on the point, you're not really going to be able to contest when your health bars are dropping. And that Sojourn's health bar is going to be difficult to peek now that you're separated from your supports. Yeah, this Doomfist is putting up a lot of pressure, and now Genji's gonna come and reap the rewards, finding a kill onto Hatsu.
yeah,
And
I think
online falling right afterwards.
with this Wuyang Kiri, it'll be really hard for Purdue Silver to find an entry, especially even if Kalami does land a nade, the Kiri will just Suzu whoever gets hit, and then Cadenza, like the only really potential like deadly lethal comp is the Cadenza with the Doomfist.
I definitely thought we were about to see Andy fall there to do this, but nope, because already we are rotating behind the Ramattra to punch him into the bola shot, and your tank is down. How are you going to fight this Doomfist? Who's going to stand up to the Doomfist? And I think the answer from the Hog Riders is nobody. This is going to give us the point, one tick already on the board, no dreams of recontesting, and that's, you know, exactly what you want to do. Silver getting down against the recontest, and that's a death mission.
Very questionable play from the Hog Riders.
Cadenza try to follow up on this, but Online does fall to those Wuyong shots completely on nerf if you hit direct, so it's going to be very powerful. But still, the pressure keeps up. I'm jumping in, I'm jumping out, I'm blocking, but no one sees my block, and you know now we're kind of resetting to a neutral position here.
Yeah, that was a really good pick onto the really good kill on the ramp. The Ramattra, I think, picked a little too much. Nano does come onto Doom here.
Portals from the side of the Hog Riders, and now the Nano Doom is wreaking havoc on the backline. Meteor Strike not gonna find the Kiriko, of course, very slippery character, but now Wuyong's falling to
Both supports are low right now, but couldn't find it. Aspa
Oh
does
my
get
goodness.
the trade out onto the Kiri.
Intense fight. Ramattra though falling, and now we have both DPS versus both supports. not favored for Blue Silver, but it looks like they got away with it. They're breaching the card.
Yeah. The Hog Riders did invest the Annihilation. I don't think they wanted to die. They thought maybe the fight was winnable. This did use it, but they'll end up switching to Zarya, thinking that might help with the Doomfist here.
Definitely a good option as a Doomfist. You know, I can bubble the target. Good option to the Genshin. I can shoot you through your debuff.
I want to. Yeah, I am interested in how they're going to use the Genji Blade without the Nano anymore. Maybe they try to fight.
Dry Blade. You don't even have you do have the Kitsune Rush though, which is a powerful combination. And it looks like that is the option here. Waiting out that bubble perfectly with the deflex, then just waiting for the time to be right to strike. Forcing this Leong into a terrible position into a dark alley. Not gonna be killed though, as Flamio finds himself on the Asphalt with his own blade, but dropping a low HP, so I'm not gonna be able to chase you around anymore. But online falling to the enemy Genji, and now if you are the Hog Riders, you are up, and you're just gonna chase down. Ooh, but I do believe that is a punch charge for Cadenza. How are we gonna use it? We're gonna use it into the alley, and we're gonna just dive right in.
Does end up missing it, but oh, this might be an aggressive play. Does have the charge, doesn't have the charge punch, but does find the Zarya kill.
And Zarya pulling for Hog Rider, and now you're up with your tank. Asphalt again representing so much pressure, and now, yep, there it is again. Asphalt killing the Genji. I mean, what can Asphalt do on that Freya? Just finding some numerical fix before it even looks like the fight started.
Yeah, like the Zarya falling mid OC from Oliver Chris is a really unfortunate thing for the Hog Riders. And Cadenza going in with the Meteor Strike is able to just splitting the team up and finding the Chris on the Sojourn.
Oh my goodness! What an so many resources, saying, okay, you might have used your resource to get through my punch and my slam, but what do you have for this ult? And I think he has another charge punch here. So once again, such a lethal weapon that's gonna force him to snowball the bounce. Oh, and Nano Boost. Nano Boost uses once again, but we're going to use a bubble plus a Weon ult to keep himself alive. And yeah, Cadenza's just going to fall. That's too much pressure, and the grab onto the rest is going to be a fight win for Hog Riders.
That might not have been the best, even though they needed to use a Weeing ult to survive the Doom Punch. However, they did end up turning the fight around by using Kitsune Rush and the Zarya grab. I don't know if that was the best choice for the Hog Riders, as they had already won the fight, but now because they used ults, they have no ults for this next fight. While Purdue Silver does still have the Kitsune Rush, so if they decide to go here, which they just do decide to go with, can't be lethal.
Going to be a question asked. The Hog Rider almost falling his online to 27, but really good movement on the high ground. Nonetheless, still gonna fall. And now you're down up there already as Purdue Silver, even with that Kitsune Rush. Sojourn just barely not falling. That healing coming in so much clutch. You don't associate Weong as a high healing healer, but it's just enough.
Yeah, they weren't able to. Purdue Silver wasn't able to find a kill fast enough, and the supports for the Hog Riders were able to just heal up the Soj and the Zarya, and not basically couldn't die.
And once again, we see this Freya sticking bolts and, you know, already forcing people back before the fight's even started. Those take aim bolts just so powerful. And we're just gonna rotate onto high ground here as our team walks in. Let's just see what we can hit here. You know, that's a stick, that's TP force, that's a stick, that's
that was almost a kill.
And a blade. But I mean, yeah, just so many resources being forced from that Genji. Ooh, and a bullet shot.
Oh, I don't know if he thought. Maybe he thought that he was able to kill it with the bullet shot, but not necessarily. I don't think he knows that you have to stick it on in order for the grab and pulling part of the bullet shot to actually hit.
Maybe it was just a miscalculation. Maybe he pressed it and then saw there was a bubble. Either way, fight immediately re-engaging for Purdue Silver. Your time's running low, so you gotta take your fights as fast as possible. We might be going with the dry blade here, or we might be waiting for the Nano Boost. A lot of options at your disposal. Already we see the Tidal Blast, so Purdue Silver's gonna do what they can to defend that, and they do it pretty well, but Asphalt falling in the chaos. Kiriko falling on the side of Hog Riders, but both supports are dead for Purdue Silver, so now it's just a matter of whether you can stay alive, and the answer to that is no. However, there was an overclock used, so now there's only a grab and a Kitsune Rush. Like, right, that's all it is.
That's all it is. But they do have the Meteor Strike and the Blade here, so I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a solo grab onto the Genji blading. But if Purdue Silver is able to be lethal enough, they can fight them. Yep, there we go. Nano just tries to keep online alive, but the Soul just shoots in for free.
Oh, but again he sprayed, and now we see drops as Cogler just gets devastated by that damage from Freya and Doomfist combined once again, like we've been talking about. I mean, Freya might not be a dying character, but the way she supports Doomfist dives have been ridiculous.
Yeah. Ooh! Huge punch by
Punching goes straight to the wall. I mean, just charging that up to let it rip and already forcing people back into spawn, so they're not out of the fight yet.
Oh my god, just holding them in spawn right now. Kaneza single land just holding them in spawn.
Oh. And already again on this Kiriko with the Kitsune rush on the point, it's going to be so difficult, but Asphalt falling to the Zarya.
Oh, almost got knocked out.
That production is going to be enough up. And even with the 2 picks on the side of Hogrider, I do not believe that it's enough to stop down this Doomfist menace, and that is Cadenza. Oh, but staying alive, finding a kill on the Calamity.
C9, almost C9. Finds a kill on the Flamio somehow. Cadenza's still alive here.
And being able to charge just before death, keeping his health bar up, Cadenza.
Does he, is he able to live it? I don't know. The Suzu does come back. The Kiri comes back to keep the Suzu. Cadenza's still alive, but isn't able to get a good punch onto anyone.
Oh my goodness. What an attempt from Cadenza though. Cadenza really, really wanted that full cap there. Unfortunately not being able to find it, as that Zarya represented so much pressure alongside that Weeyong and Genji. But,
Yeah,
I mean,
Cadenza wasn't
what a
able to.
fight.
Cadenza wasn't able to get a kill. If he was able to get that punch, that so close punch of the Zarya off the map, that fight definitely could have turned the other way and having leading Purdue Silver to have won that fight. But because Cadenza wasn't able to push that Zarya off, the Zarya was able to just keep her backline alive, have them kill everyone else on Purdue Silver's backline, and turn the fight around on Cadenza and making him play by himself in that fight.
I mean, just such an important thing. That fight was the target priority from Zarya onto the Freya, as spouse Freya. Because as we were saying, you know, Doom's dive solo into the enemy composition is not enough to get a kill. You know, Suzu's so powerful. Weeyong's wave is so powerful, so you really need those take aim bolts to really help them secure the kills or get out those cooldowns you need to find a kill. So when Zarya is saying, I don't want any of that, there is going to be no bounty hunting upon my supports. I mean, that's just a really well played engage from the Hog Riders. Are we hovering? Surely we just want to look at him, right? Surely we're just like, you know, basking in his glory and then switching to a real character.
Surely, right? Maybe, but it does seem like we're rolling out on it.
Wow. We are rolling out on Bastion. Okay, so we're just looking to output a lot of frontline damage, I suppose. But on King's Road here, we're just gonna fight back into the hotel. We're just gonna chill while you're in the turret. I mean, it's really rare you see a Bastion competitive play for a reason, but let's see what the Hog Riders do with it.
It might be in a response to try to deal with Doomfist, maybe. Should I burst him down before?
I mean, the flip onto the enemy high ground is great, because now Aspao is gonna struggle to stay alive, and Hachi's gonna fall, and now, I mean, how's Aspao gonna get killed when Kiri's dead? And yeah, Calamine's dead too. Now Aspao relying entirely on the passive self-healing, and
yeah,
that's just gonna fall. Wow, what a honestly, you know, I was doubting Bastion, but the way those Sim TPs and Lucio's speed boosters got Hog Rider straight into the space of it was kind of beautiful.
Yeah, Hatsu trading her life, try to keep keeping Aspao alive, but does end up falling herself to the right into the Zarya and Bastion. Unfortunate TP for her.
Really, what do you do when that Bastion turret representing so much damage and that Zarya representing so much damage are like 4-dash delivery on top of your face? If you're Hatsu, like, I'm terrified. Suzu is not enough to keep me alive.
Yeah, this Bastion will be very hard to kill, especially with the Akiri and Lucio. And just
very unfortunate blink.
This is a very hard team for this comp is a very hard comp for Purdue Silver to try to find a kill and be able to properly have Cadenza on the Doomfist to have some lethal pressure, which that Doom usually would have. But Bastion's so tanky. Lucio is just hard for Lucio to get punched when he's wall riding around, and then Kiri always having TP, and then Zarya just bubbling the sim and everything.
It's funny because most of this Hog Rider is so mobile between the sim and speed, you get a speed boost and the Fury speed. Then you have that Bastion. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to see a Bastion working this well, but I guess all the added mobility. It's like you're not turned into a turret. You're like a drone. I don't know, man.
Like you would think Bastion with his lack of mobility it would be very easy to kill. However, with a Zarya bubble, it turns very difficult because even if even if Zarya doesn't end up using her bubble in time, you as a Bastion can turn into the turret form and have that additional damage resistance, plus giving your supports probably Suzuing you, speeding you, and constantly amping heal on you. So like, it's still gonna be hard to kill, and then the Zarya will turn around and bubble the Bastion. So it's still like trying to find Bastion as a target person is still gonna be really hard.
I mean, it's interesting. It looks like they're almost trying to run that Zarya Reaper comp without the Reaper, and instead opting to run Bastion. And it's working. I mean, it's working as well as a Reaper would. Tapping that second point and 5 minutes on the clock, and now we're just going to chase down online. Important to note that Purdue Silver is on double hit scan and still double flex support.
Yeah, I think as Purdue, what you want to do is try to poke out, force those Zarya bubbles, and then once those Zarya bubbles are out, then you should be looking to try to engage onto this Bastion where the bubbles aren't there to fight. You can't necessarily play first because if you play before the Zarya bubbles are used, it's kind of worthless. Yeah.
There's so much pressure with that A rush plus Lucio and speed.
Yeah.
And when your Zarya has as much charge as that Zarya has, 100 charge, Lucio speed amp, Kitsune rush, 100 charge Zarya. What do you do if you're Purdue Silver?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's gonna be difficult to find a last fight here.
Yeah, there's really not much for Purdue Silver to do as the Hog Riders do have the ult advantage and just have the momentum to keep riding out the few fights after that. Yeah.
Oh my god, but online does find some kills with that super clock. If Calamite and Atsu hold this down, there is a way for Purdue to come back into this. Atsu holding down the fort, almost taking out that Zarya, and the Doomfist last second punch. Once again, Cadenza is not willing to go down so easily, but unfortunately, even through the block, that damage from the Bastion, that damage from Zarya is not gonna let you live. And Hog Riders take their second map.
Yeah. If I was a Hog Rider, that momentum of just on their attack, just carry them through the attack phase. And if I was Purdue Silver, I would be looking to switch up, finding a solution into the Bastion faster, or else they would just do what they did, which is run them down with the ult differences and just keep pushing cart without really much resistance at all.
Yeah, now it's Purdue on the back foot. This is the set point for Hog Riders. So if you're Purdue Silver, you got to take out, all the last stops here. Putting everything you have to this last map. If you were holding anything in the reserves, now's the time to bring it out. Because Hog Riders are in a very good position after these last two maps, especially that King's Row offense brings such a creative strategy of Symmetra, Bastion, Zarya, and just making it look so unstoppable.
Yeah. Bastion has been this whole meta has been about survivability, which team can survive the longest. That's why Reaper and Zarya has been such a big thing. And having that sim TPing that Bastion all over the place and the Bastion the damage resistance is a good reason why it works so well, because the Bastion is able to survive for so long. You need to find ways to poke out the Bastion, force out the bubbles, and just constantly create pressure, but without being on top of the Bastion or be in that effective range of Bastion. You need to be in different angles. Maybe a Tracer could have been doing that. Maybe like even having Kiri, maybe having the Soj earlier. So you need to create pressure all around the Bastion, around their bunker comp, basically, like where they're bunkering around a certain high ground or the cart. You need to be finding different angles, try to basically turning the Bastion, forcing him to use his turret form, or else you're not gonna. It's just gonna be really hard to kill that, especially with the damage reduction.
Right. For sure, and I definitely think that Doomfist, despite Kadeza obviously showing that he's very, very potent on the Doomfist, the Doomfist was not having a fun time diving into the middle of a Bastion, a Zarya, and a Sim. You really could not find those isolated kills when they were playing like a unit. And even when you did find a chance to strike somebody, there was a Zarya bubble, there was a Suzu, there was Lucio speed, there was the Sim TP. It was just so difficult to keep up that consistent pressure from the Doomfist, and it looks like they are opting to ban the Zarya. No longer messing with that. We said, okay, I wanna dive, I wanna brawl, I wanna kill you. I do not want there to be a bubble between me and my victim.
Hmm. This can be a viable pick for Purdue Silver and just try to forcing the Hog Riders to play some sort of divier or maybe an easier brawl, like easier killable backline without that Zarya bubble.
Definitely because I mean, as Doomfist, right? You can force a Suzu, you can force a Weeyong wave, but can you also force two bubbles? Those bubbles are such a great defensive resource. So if
Hmm.
you're opting to run dive as Purdue Silver, just disabling the tank from having such a potent defensive tool for their supports is a very, very strong option.
Yeah.
So I like that angle from Purdue Silver here.
You do decide to play on New Queen Street, so I wouldn't be surprised if I saw the Doomfist back out for Cadenza. But I do
Yeah,
wonder.
I mean,
I wouldn't be so. Obviously, I will still probably see the Freya from Aspal. But I wonder what online and Hatsu and Kalami will decide to pick for this map.
yeah, definitely. A lot of supports, a lot of different. We've seen different support combinations every single time from Purdue Silver. We opened up on that Lucio Kiriko, then we pivoted to the Weon Kiriko, and then we saw the Ana Kiriko. Um, and it looks like once again we are switching out Wooly for Flamio. Just switch back and forth. We've seen so many times for the Hog Riders. Probably just a character pool thing. Whatever.
Yeah, I think Uli Ulio played the played the Venture, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Venture here. Flamio played the Bastion, so I think they
Mhm.
specialize in two different comps, like two different
Yeah.
play styles. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the
Oh
Wulio playing the
yes, that
Venture
that
again.
Venture, that Genji. Yeah, so this is definitely um probably gonna be looking to run some type of dive. Maybe the tank of the tank of Hog Rider going some sort of wrecking ball or hazard or diva or just someone to assist those dives in any way possible. Um, and so that's definitely on the supports of Purdue Silver, the Hatsu and Calamite, to stay alive and stay up. So let's looks like Genji ban though from the Hog Riders. So no Genji and no Zarya. So very, very interesting choice to ban here. And those were two characters that we've seen in a lot of these games so far. So we're
Yeah.
definitely trying to shake things up here and kind of get into a different rhythm because Purdue Silver did not like the track that was playing. It looks like we're having a couple difficulties from the side of the Hog Riders.
Por favor, bull.
Por favor.
Interesting. Um,
That's actually Spanish for please.
por favor is
Por favor, yeah.
por favor. I like a por favor.
Porfable. I could go for a porfable right now. Gotta Chipotle grab myself a porfable after this.
Yeah. I love a por favor. I don't. It's a. What would a por favor be? It's.
It's like a I think one thing we really need to address is this a portable housing crisis. There's just no
Oh.
portable housing. Yeah. Okay, now they're ready. No,
So
no,
now we're
sorry,
portable
it was error,
is a
everyone. It's
Chipotle bowl, but
portable.
not, but it's also a housing crisis.
Yeah,
Understood.
it's like the because there's just no affordable housing anymore. It's all the inflation. All right, let's get it started on New Queen Street. I mean, if you don't mind my saying, this is a very good map, a very exciting map where a lot of really good games happen. So I'm excited to see the preparation from both sides and how they're ready to kind of transform this map into a battleground
Yeah,
and
I've been
see
seeing
what fights they want to take and what
a
they want to
lot
run.
more New Queen Street being picked by like Purdue teams all across the board, and it seems like might be a popular pick now. Is because they used to be Esperanza. I used to play a lot of
Yeah, it
Esperanza
used to be
on
a
Black
bunch
team,
of
but it
things.
doesn't seem like people decide to pick that map. I know Purdue
Yeah, I
Black
mean,
plays that map because they have a. Actually, I shouldn't expose what they play, but
yeah, let's not
yeah. They have a certain comp they like to play Esperanza, but yeah, I'm surprised.
Ooh, we see Junker Queen from Cadenza. I am so excited to see some Junker Queen gameplay because
Yes.
we did see it on Suravasa for all of 40 seconds. But here we're rolling out and choosing to start on the Junker Queen. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Junker Queen is the better option here, and will probably allow Purdue Silver to have much more survivability, while keeping that lethality as a Doomfist would. So I wouldn't be surprised to see what would happen here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of options, and we're already set up on the high ground here for Hog Rider. Just kind of huddling around this statue, not going to give it up. So we're just going to try to poke in, see what entries we can get. And already the brawl has been initiated. Cadenza using that shout and finding the kill on the Winston almost immediately, stinging a knife in the back of Lucio. Wooly does find the kill onto the Calamite Lucio, but now it's a 2v5, and I don't think you're winning that. Aspal picking up those last two kills on the Venture, equally deadly as Venture on Freya. There we go.
Yeah, the Winston for the Hog Rider is just instantly basically blown up by the combination of Aspal, Online, and Cadenza just shooting into that. Basically not even able to survive single, but not being able to like get supported by his backline.
I mean, yeah, Junker Queen definitely looking like the mix-up that Purdue needed here, just representing such a unique style of offense. And already we're going to swing that X right into the back of the Winston, not encouraging an extended dive here. And yeah, I mean, Winston not able to take an extended dive just because there's so much damage from that Reaper, from that Junker Queen. And once your tank falls, it's just easy pickings for the rest of the team.
Yeah, like uh, the Hog Rider does decide to play the Venture Tracer with the Winston. So they are looking to try to burst one target and try to like kill that one target as fast as possible before the fight starts. But with the way the Silver team's comp is played, they are really good at surviving, similar to that like Zarya Bastion comp.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, just once again, you are not able to jump on my backline.
yeah,
I mean,
this is
Winston is a strong character, but not when he's getting blown up like that. And oh, knife whiff would have been
yeah.
super cool there. But
There's a reason why Winston, a lot of times when he's playing on a divey comp or where you try to burst one person, is usually play with the Ana, because that Ana prevents any support and healing from to that backline. So you
oh my
trying to just
gosh.
brawl and kill that backline is just almost impossible.
Yeah, just already switching to the Ramatra, not even 2 minutes into the game, not dealing with that, but we do see the Venture ultimate popped here, representing a lot of pressure onto the Ramatra, and it does not matter what tank you're on. I'm forcing you back to spawn. Now we see the Venture just digging a point, trying to, I don't know, get some offense started, but it does not look like Purdue Silver is going to let that happen. However, Oliver Chris does find the rail onto Online's Reaper, and we are going to see Purdue fall here. Little bit of hold from Hog Rider. I mean, that Ramatra almost falling, getting his health bar back up, and turning the fight.
Yeah, no, the Purdue Silver definitely decided to back up, thinking that they could stabilize before the fight started, but that only gave Oliver Chris the enough space on the Soj to hit a rail shot onto Online before he can use it all. If I was Purdue Silver, I would have looked to continue dragging the fight out and forcing the next fight.
We see the beat drop from Purdue Silver, and the counter beat a little too late, not able to say Lava Knee. Now you're up a player as Purdue Silver. Let's see how we play this. Can we take advantage of this advantage? Aspal, however, dropping, but Oliver Chris dropping. So once again, Purdue Silver keeps that number advantage. And Ansi and Wooly falling. Calamite on the way out, but I mean, when your entire team's dead, does a kill on a Lucio really matter?
Yeah.
Purdue Silver, such a good kill, just a good fast kill onto the Kiriko, looking so confident on the Junker Queen.
Yeah, if I'm Purdue, I would that fight was perfect. Their support used both ults, and while you only use your beat in response, and you still have this JQ ult plus this Reaper Blossom here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ultimates online for Purdue, and we see the Death Blossom dropped in the middle of them, finding 4. What a Death Blossom! It is not often you see a Death Blossom 4K and Calamite finding the last kill on the Sojourn. It's now a question of whether you can even contest the payload anymore, staying on the Ramatra. Can you even get there in time? It looks like
how are you going to respond with this Junker Queen ult? You're going to force this. You hear this Suzu and decide to use it just to find just the Ramatra.
But the Ramatra, however, that might be enough. Purdue is getting numbers, getting kills. It's just going to be the Sojourn and the Venture without any healing, without any tank. I do believe that Excavation Initiation is not going to be enough to take down the Junker Queen. However, Venture holding on to their life, and Ramatra making it back to the point, dropping Annihilation. King Cadenza win a fight against this Annihilation, and it looks like he's doing his best. He's holding in there, going to find that kill onto the Kiriko. Is Aspal's Venture. And, I mean, just shooting. Calamite falls, but so does Anti. No Lucio for either team. Very low health bars on both tanks. And it looks like the Axe is going to be the death of Ramatra. And now it's just a Sojourn and a Kiriko against the world. Can we find this last kill before the rest get here? Looks like it.
This is like 2 CP all over again. Where they're just constantly touching. But
ridiculous. What a insane last fight. Cadenza is so good in those scraps and those insane situations where they send man after man. We saw it on the Doomfist on King's River. Now we saw it on the Junker Queen for a very clean map win, sending us to Game 5.
Yeah, that Junker Queen was definitely the fight. Like, they needed that Junker Queen. If they had hit the big, maybe if Cadenza had hit maybe a bigger rampage, that the fight might have ended sooner. But yeah, they were just able to live through the Annihilation somehow. Like, they had nothing to live through, which I was surprised they were actually living through because, what's it? The Ramatra just sat there with block and didn't actually take much damage, forcing the Purdue Silver to have to look at the other team, making sure that, hey, everyone else that's coming back dies first before this Ramatra, because we're not killing this Ramatra, even with the support of the backline. And I was surprised, Cadenza did fall almost really low to that Annihilation, but ends up getting the heals from the supports coming back.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just Cadenza is so good at holding on to his life. It does not matter what tank you put him on, like, both on that Doomfist and that Junker Queen, and even the Zarya. He's just so good at fighting tooth and nail, even on a sliver of HP. And that lifesteal from Junker Queen that she gets on so many of her abilities came in so clutch, just in time and time again for your Lucio and your Kiriko to get back and keep you alive.
Oh my god.
Yeah?
I just realized that... Nah, we're not gonna talk about it.
We're not gonna talk about it.
We're not gonna talk
about it. Does not need to be discussed.
Does not need to be discussed. People will discuss it to me later and it will be DM'd to me, and I will take the flame for it, but we won't talk about it right now.
We will not talk about it. You know what? It didn't even happen. As far as I'm concerned,
that map never happened. That map never happened. Purdue just got a point. Nope, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Bro, you didn't see that entire map. That was so exciting. Oh my god.
It was such a good fight. It was such a good map, and all they saw was the. Oh, I'm so sorry for the stream. I'm so sorry. You missed a great map that's contradicting of King's Row. You missed a really good map.
If you've ever seen like a public execution, that's basically what we saw from Junker Queen.
Yeah,
Cadenza Junker.
Cadenza had so much aura, and you could probably hear from our commentary how good it was, but I am so sorry. I'll make sure I click the transition button next time, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, mistakes happen.
This was a pretty big one.
The map 5. What we're focused on right here is the map 5. That's gonna be the pick for. Oh my God, Shambhala Monastery. I don't know the last time I've seen this map chosen to be played just actively. You know what? Any map in the world.
Of the escort maps, Shambhala Monastery is one I never expect.
You know what,
But
Shambali Monastery, definitely not an expected pick, but if you're Hog Riders, that's what you want, you know? This is the set
mm,
point, winner takes all here, so we're not going to pull out, we're not going to pull out a map that the team's prepared for. We're going to pull out this kind of like dark, dingy castle no one's ever been to. So perhaps they have some kind of plan brewing here that Purdue Silver does not. Purdue Silver maybe just kind of have to opt onto playing kind of the default whatever they're just comfortable on, no specific plan. However, you never know what they're prepared for, so it's going to be interesting to see what the teams run. We are once again switching Flamio for Wooly, so kind of that. Oh, it looks like the Venture ban as well. So once again, we're subbing out our Venture and then swapping out our Venture. And now the last map decision here goes to Purdue Silver. What ban are we making
wait,
for this final match?
Flamio for because they decide to swap Flamio for Wooly and then Silver decides to ban Venture. Is it kind of a
No. They Flamio was back in, so they switched. Wooly was in. They switched out Wooly. Now Flamio is in.
So that's what I'm
then
saying.
the
I'm
enemy-
wondering why they decided to ban the Venture when Flamio, when they don't usually play the Venture with Wooly out. I think, right? Was there?
Yeah, but it's exactly. They switched out their Ventures. Their Venture's not playing. Their Venture player is not playing. So now they're banning Venture because Venture's so strong. I mean, if
Well,
your
that's what I'm
Venture
saying.
player's
Why
on
would
the
you
bench-
ban the Venture if the Venture player isn't playing?
Well, it was Hawk Riders banned Venture.
Oh, they banned the Venture. Oh, that okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
the
now
Hawk
okay.
Riders
That
took
makes
out their
sense.
Venture and then banned Venture. Yeah. Do not
Interesting.
want to deal with Venture, and you know what?
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's all.
I'm
kind
not
of
surprised
A
they-
lot of
I would have banned the JQ after what happened last map, because on Shambhala Monastery,
I
you
mean-
could still definitely play the JQ here. Like, there's still enough corners that you could play. Say if Purdue
You have
Silver's
to
on attack,
mind-
you could definitely run the left high and all that corner cover.
You have to keep in mind though, on that new Queen Street match, Zarya was banned, and Zarya is as far as Junker Queen as far as a Junker Queen counter goes. I don't think it gets more extreme than Zarya.
Yeah,
I
that
think,
is true.
Being able to
Yeah.
open that axe is such a powerful resource. Being able to use bubbles when Junker Queen shouts to just kind of deny that offense. Being able to get up in her face and just laser her right clicker, completely deny her entry. That's such a big deal for Junker Queen, and kind of why she's not as played as she might have used to be. Just because, I mean,
That is true,
Zarya
yeah, the
is
Zarya-
so strong right now.
But I don't know.
Like, there's a Ramatra ban from the side of Purdue Silver. And with that, I believe both teams will be diving into the match here shortly. I'm excited. This has been a very intense set.
That's
some
it.
very
This is
fast
we
fights,
are
very
making to a map
close fights.
5, so this is a pretty good game right now. And I will make sure we see this. We will be able to see this game. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah. Let's switch scenes here. once again.
Okay, scene is switched.
Monastery.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Here we
Now
are.
make
Shambali
sure
Monastery,
everyone
everyone.
sees it.
Yeah. I mean, so many choices that could be made. Let's like.
We might.
I don't know,
Let's make some predictions. I think if I was Silver Team,
Diva.
Diva is a good choice. If I was Purdue Silver, based off how New Queen Street went, I might keep that Junker Queen. Like
keep the JQ,
because
okay, even with the
Ready
Diva
for
online.
battle.
yeah, even with the Diva,
No, it
because
looks like
they decided to go with
okay,
the
we're falling
Zarya.
back onto the Freya. We're on the Zarya Reaper. Totally understand. We're back on the Lucio Bastion sim core that they were running on Kings Row. I mean, I understand they kind of did cap with 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you are Hog Riders, like I am not going to question what I just ran.
Yeah, I think the Reaper into the Bastion is a little bit more, because on Kings Road they did
For
ban that
sure.
Reaper, so the Reaper is able to hit the Bastion a lot harder than the Freya, and I guess they had who was the other one?
3,
Freya and Soj? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
incoming.
That was Genji. It was a Genji.
Oh
for a
yeah,
lot of it.
Genji. Yeah.
Anyways, here
So
we
I think
go.
the Reaper will hit a lot harder for that.
Okay, already up. We're just holding this high ground, playing this a very typical, style. Lucio gonna poke out the team, get some damage, give him a ult, and it looks like we're going to TP very quickly with that speed amp onto Silver, and Hansu already falling to the Bastion grenade, And now, if you are Purdue Silver, you kind of just got to get out of there. Your main source of healing and your only source of burst healing for your machine is completely gone. Now can your Reaper get out? Can Online get out here? Looks like he's finding a way, and now those Lucio healers are going to just nurse him back up to full, and Hotsu is back. So wow, what a first fight. I mean, there we go once again with those TPs and Bastion.
Online was in a really good offing, however, he was just way too slow, and with the Sim TP, he was not able to catch up to the backline of the Purdue Hog Riders and end up just falling in like before the team fights.
Flamio dies to the damage of his own grenade, but Online dying to Symmetra. We're gonna see, I mean, both of the like highest damage output, but the Zarya does fall in the trades, and now we're just gonna see Calamite die, unable to get out of that fight. Playing so quickly is the Hog Riders. However, Purdue is taking the brawl so closely that it looks as though they're gonna get a third fight on this first checkpoint, which is exactly what you want. You want that third chance. You need that third chance when these first two chances have kind of expired so quickly. And it looks like Junker Queen is on the board again for Purdue Silver. I mean, I can't say I don't love it.
I much prefer this pick because you're still able to sort of sustain through the Zarya bubbles.
Already Online falling, but the bullet shot on Symmetra, keeping it up once again. Now with the question of can he stay alive, can he get his pick? Lamini falling from the side of Hog Rider, Aspal falling, but Junker Queen's still on the board. And we see coming Cadenza with his supports online. I don't think he's falling anytime soon. He's putting so much damage, getting all this life steal. Bastion is not going to be able to live. But he's getting knifed, but that Suzu coming in clutch, and now Cadenza's health bar is falling like crazy in the turret. But Anti and Zarya falling as so many resources need to be dedicated to that Bastion. What a fight! This Junker Queen is such a good pick for Purdue.
The Junker Queen works so well here, especially because in this first point of there's not a lot of high grounds that you have to really manage and like try to take control of. So Junker Queen's able to just play on the same level as the Bastion and Zarya, playing the corners, forcing the bubbles. If the Bastion does turn and goes into turret form, he's able to just play corners and play safe. Once that form is out, he's able to just run in and don't have to worry about it.
Zarya just teleported in. That's a terrifying thought. Shooting rush both sides. Aspal falling, and a grab on Junker Queen is not what you want, even with Flamio the Bastion falling in the process. It's going to be a difficult fight for Online and his supports, but can he take it? No, Calamite and Hatsu falling, so unless you find 4 kills on your own, you are not taking that fight. And yeah, Hog Rider finding their footing, but there's signs of lives here, and we see Aspal switch over to Echo. I don't know the last time I've seen an Echo.
Echo can help with the very fast survival burst, but against a Zarya and a Bastion, I don't know how easily an Echo can survive it. Especially once after the stickies are gone and you're with no flight, you're kind of there doing whatever you nothing.
Rampage is offline for Purdue Silver, but the wall goes up, and that's kind of just a disengage for Purdue Silver. You don't want to fight when the enemies have a wall. Axe is found. I mean, that wall, you're just not really getting a fair fight if you're Purdue Silver. You're gonna drop. Flamio is found. Hatsu fighting a great pick. So this is a 3v4 for Purdue Silver, and if this Reaper can find a big death block, but no, Hatsu's gonna fall, and even that Mega is not enough to keep you up as Online.
Yeah, I think Cadenza right there held his Rampage for really long because he wanted to try to force that Suzu out from the Kiri, but the Kiri just never investing that Suzu, so Cadenza just held it to that Rampage.
Alright, once again, we're looking for it. We're looking to force that Suzu. We find the kill on the Bastion already. You know, they don't want to allocate that Suzu because the Rampage is such a threat. Chasing down Calamite, but Online finds a kill onto Oliver Chris. No more Symmetra, and now it's a 3v5 from Hog Rider. Make that a 2v5 as their Kiriko falls, and there's no source of main healing. And now your Zarya is going to get chased down by Junker Queen, and you are not living as the entire time is just hunting them down.
Yeah, Purdue Silver investing 0 ults and able to build their other 3 ults up to 90%, basically making this next fight with 5 ults. While Hog Riders also have 4 of their own, just without the Symmetra ult, which honestly, in a fight like this with 4 ults to 5, I don't think the Symmetra wall would be doing much of a difference.
I mean, you never know. Symmetra wall is such an effective tool for shutting down enemy ultimates. You know, I mean, it's literally a wall. And now
Suzu's used out from the Kiri. I don't know if Cadenza knows. Cadenza does end up knowing.
And we see a Rampage connecting on everyone from that speed. Yeah, I mean, that's the job of the speed there. But the Lucio on very low speed. Shout, just chasing him down. And now we're looking at this Kiriko. And we get the kill. Axe fighting too. That's going to be great in your Cadenza. And just barely staying alive, but both supports dead. And online clean up this fight. Finding a kill onto the Zarya. And now it's
able,
not going to be able to contest this space. And this is a great situation for Purdue.
That was a hefty ult from both teams, though. Both teams using 4 ults here, but Online needs to stay alive for this next fight in order to hit this big blossom that he did, that 4K that he did on New Queen Street that everyone missed.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Online with that Death Blossom usage is very careful about it. He does not rush into using Death Blossom because when he clicks it, you know, he wants to see bodies drop. He wants to see the entire team die if he can. Death Blossom is clicked, chunking down.
They're chunking everyone, but no one was able to die.
And
oh,
that's gonna be a second point cap for the Hog Riders, and now you're on last point, only a minute and a half on the clock. But you know, this has been great progress for them, and now it's a question of how Purdue Silver is going to respond. No ults on the board unless you count Bastional as an ult.
This is the one point I might have to disagree with. I will say the JQ won't work here because of this long angle that this Bastion gets, while Cadenza gets basically 0 cover up here.
Alright, we do see the Bastion ultimate pop, and we find a kill onto Aspow with Bastional. My apologies, Bastional, I was not familiar with your game. Now we're just going to walk him down. No Cassidy on the field, and both Online and Cadenza, both of those big body health bars are going to fall, and now it's just those two supports. Can they stay alive? This is going to be important. Big Dancy before the fight even starts. And now if you're Purdue Silver, you see signs of life. Can we contest? Can we get onto this point? Because if we can, we have the advantage we need. The Keystone Rush dropping from both sides as both tanks are now in this fight. And it's a question of you guys stay alive for longer. Rampage online, but you're not going to need it as both the Bastion and the Zarya fall. And now it's the question of daggers, 20 seconds on the clock. You're not going to get a fair fight if you're Hog Riders. It's just going to be a Lucio touch.
Yeah, Hog Riders does have the Lucio beat for this JQ to counter JQ, but also Calabi does have his own.
Stay alive on the point. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. And now
you're
going to counter
Lucio about early.
And now we're gonna get a Rampage here, essentially from. Oh my God, fighting so many. Even with that, your Zarya is not living because he's not letting everyone grab his online though. And both Online and Cadenza are gonna fall. We're now on a 3v4. Both bombs online. Can we find someone? No, we can. Oh,
it's
yes,
two!
Both Kiriko and Bastion falling. And now this is a winnable fight, but you just need to stay alive. Oh my goodness.
No.
So hard fought.
Cadenza hitting all 4 with his Rampage, but the Zari was able to get build grab fast enough and fire it before she dies, and getting 4 Purdue Silvers, and then just having Hog Rider was able to just finish everyone off from there. Truly unfortunate for Purdue Silver because that fight was such on your side until that grab came out. Then it instantly flipped to be on Hog Rider's advantage. But yeah, no, I think the JQ swap definitely helped. Like playing that corner, helped slow down the fight for Purdue Silver, allowing them to fight at their own tempo, knowing that hey, we need to force certain cooldowns out. Zarya bubbles. We need to force at least 1 or 2 Zarya bubbles to be forced to be used before we can engage. Maybe even wait until the Bastion uses his form. Hey, maybe we need to wait until the Suzu gets used. Like having that queen basically forces you to wait for cooldowns to be used in order to engage. Because you know if you're JQ and you don't wait for those cooldowns, you will not be able to kill anything. So
yeah, and now we're gonna see how well Hog Rider is gonna be able to play this defense because they have a very fast comp. They have a very explosive comp.
Yeah, they do decide to play the Bastion and Symmetra just like how they play in defense. It is a good defense comp too because you're able to just hold one space and just have Bastion go into shift form.
Very, very much so gonna bunker down here. Very much so, just, you know, holding this high ground. And the Pharah pick from Online, very interesting. Just gonna kind of gas out, so to speak, from the enemy team. shooting those bombs, you know, from the safe space around the corner, just exploding and doing so much damage. And as Kao is already gonna fall to Lava Knee, you know, Reaper might have a big health bar, but those kunais are deadly. Oh, but Cadenza trading out for Bastion, and you know, you might be dead there. But if your team can regroup fast, it's gonna be a long walk back to Bastion.
If I'm online, I'm not looking to play the same angle as my Junker Queen and Reaper because you need to be pressuring on them, especially as a Pharah. You're able to hit bigger direct shots on the Zarya and the Bastion, putting pressure on the side. If you put the same pressure in the front along with your team, they just play their team would just hold the same angle away from cover and not really be able to find the lethal pressure that Pharah usually have.
Already the Zarya is down, but we're just seeing trade after trade after trade. Purdue Silver seeming to come out on top here, up a man, but this Bastion is going to find a kill on Calamite. The Flamio is going to fall right after, and that numbers game barely going the way, but hold on. There's signs of life as Anti does finish off Cadenza, and now it's a duel of online.
Oh my god!
Anti here.
This Lucio's crazy! Actually, able to hold for so long for Hog Riders to come back.
Yeah, I mean, just such a, honestly, that was so well played from NC, just almost finding that cleanup. And, you know, main support, a lot of the time, it's the quiet value. You know, a lot of the time, it's just slowly dipping. Oh my god! Knifed out of the sky is online 647. Bastion is no slack in terms of damage. And now we see the Kitsune rush drop. Can we find any kills? I don't think so. And now we're backing and we're dying on our way out. Flamio, that Bastion is representing so much damage onto Purdue Silver.
And going into the next fight, Purdue Silver does seem to be coming on 3.5-ish ults here, while Hog Riders do already have 3 ults. So this will be a long, scrappy fight of a lot of ults being used, I'm gonna assume.
Yeah, I mean, Bastion not finding anything. But we do see the Rocket Barrage finding 2 with the combination of that Reaper pressure. Kiriko barely holding on there, and Pharah finding a way out, but unfortunately it will not matter, however, as the rest of your team has fallen. And that's going to be the first point capped for Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue using 2 also, and Hog Riders only using the Bastion ult, which does keep Purdue still have an even amount of ults going to the next fight, which is really good for Purdue. But you have to be wary of this sound barrier for your rampage if you're Cadenza.
Definitely, if you are Cadenza, you're trying to force up this sound barrier without committing your rampage, because you know you might be anti-healed, but overhealth does not care. So, oh my goodness, already closing that lead. And Oliver just fighting before that beat comes out, and now we might be able to find a rampage here. A Death Weapon comes out, but it's very good. And now we see a rampage, killing that Bastion, forcing so much out of the Zarya. I don't think she's gonna be able to take it back to her team. And Cadenza's so lethal with that Joker Queen, just the judge, jury, and executioner on the rampage.
This is not Punisher. Don't mix us. It's kind of like Punisher though. Yeah, you hear that ult come out and you will be a little wary. You do not want to peek it because it's kind of scary to look into. But no, yeah, I agree. It's very deadly just like that. But Purdue doesn't have any ults for the next fight, so they have to really either take a dry fire or take a really slow. Yeah, they're gonna kite this rush, try to just live and try to get out of here.
And overhealth, unfortunately, Ashpow is not getting in on that shout. Not gonna see the speed boost, not gonna see the overhealth, and gonna be caught out by this Metra.
But yeah, if you're Purdue, you just want to have a nice, long, drawn-out fight where you can build ult and try to not invest too much yourself. Because, yeah, and Hog Rider does have the grab and the wall, so they are able to definitely dish out. They do decide to invest the Bastion as well and grab.
The Bastion is gonna nuke 3 2 ults once again from Hog Rider. Can we find this pick onto online? That would be big. Lucio's speed is so effective at chasing down that last kill. And now that's 2 more ults for another team wipe. The only ult remaining for Hog Rider is that sim wall.
Yeah, this sim wall can still be very fight winning because they can block off a lot of angles, block a bunch of damage from Purdue Silver, but they only have the Kitsune and maybe this barrage for the next fight. So it's not a really lethal fight. Oh, an early wall coming out from from the Hog Riders.
9 days, yeah. Enabling Hogbearer to kind of build ult charge without having to, engage in a proper fight. The clock is ticking for Purdue Silver, so we're gonna drop the lane and we're gonna go back. Do not want to give up a second here. Zarya bubble onto the axe, very important. It's for Zarya, but online 247 is gonna drop that back grenade, and now as power is gonna drop, trying to get my damage in. Now we're comboing yes, as Silver and Hog is gonna fall right after. Without any damage being represented.
Yeah, I'm not. That was honestly a little poorly played by Purdue Silver. Online going back in at half HP into a turreting Bastion, so he just took the nade from it and then falling, and then Aspal as a Reaper using Wraith Form and TPing right back into it without the Wraith Form, so he had no escape. And honestly, that might have been a little bit of an aggressive play from both of the DPSs because they had no escape and just got the Bastion.
Final fight territory for Phoenix over here. We're gonna see the rocket barrage dropped, and the beat just keeping him alive. But the counter beat and now online is falling. You're already down. It's Phoenix over. You need to fight. The Rampage has to be big. Fighting for no Suzu online, keeping out.
But you're not able to find anyone.
Over, and Cadenza is dead, and that will beat the series for the Hog Rider. Very extremely played defense there.
Yeah, I think in that second. In the second point, Purdue had multiple chances of getting a certain lead, but I think Purdue Silver rushed these fights a little too fast, not forcing the Zarya bubbles to be used before engaging the fight. They decided there was multiple times when Cadenza tries to go in on the Zarya before two bubbles or like before any bubble, the bubbles were fully used up, so the Zarya were able to just bubble herself or bubble her team from getting killed and end up falling to that.
Yeah, ultimately it was very well played from both sides. A lot of really good moments
for
both,
sure.
But in the end, the Hog Riders came prepared on Shambhala Monastery and were able to take the set.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's all for today, right?
That was
now, so.
Yeah. So well played by the Washington Hog Riders, winning this map, the series 3-2. It was a really good 5-map game from both teams. I think Purdue did have a really good, had great showings on all the maps too, especially along with the Hog Riders.
So. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's I believe that's it. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you everyone for watching.
You all
Sorry for match 4.
Bye.
Bye bye.